Hello and welcome to the Daily Millwall for Thursday, the 12th of September 2024. In today's Millwall news, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. There is a ton of fresh Millwall news, seemingly from the pre-match interview ahead of Saturday morning's game. So that boring international week is done and dusted. We are back with Millwall Football Club on Saturday at home against Luton. But before then, if you haven't got a QPR ticket, it's sold out. It was one of the hardest. It was one of the hardest tickets to get, and it's got even harder because for some reason they've decided to give us less tickets. So there you go, sold out, gone. When did they go on sale? Was it Monday? It was Monday, wasn't it? So it took 4 days. That's not bad, but I think it's just because the way they did it. Like, how many people got like 700 loyalty points or 500 or whatever it was? It's literally like not that many people. It's like, so it got. I don't know. Obviously, they've edited it. This is from millfc.co.uk, so they've edited it. So I can't really remember what it was, but I knew that the members wouldn't get onto it yet. So season ticket holders only. There you go, done and dusted. In what? That's next week, actually. Oh, it's next week. Yeah, it was a bit late. They were a bit late getting it out, weren't they? Oh, and they've updated the thing. So it used to say you had to print it out. All tickets for this fixture will be issued as a PDF that you can print it out. How do you print a PDF? Or use as an e-ticket and scan at Loftus Road. So what you're supposed to do is bring your laptop. No, don't bring your laptop. Bring your phone. You're supposed to log in on your phone, on your email, on your phone, and then enlarge it so that the thing shows, and then you can go through the gate. What a load of old shit that is, huh? And look, please note, you can't screenshot it. You can't screenshot it because that won't work. It reduces the quality. How does it reduce the quality? Aren't like Apple iPhones like fucking 800 quid? Aren't they making them better and better each time? They just announced a new one, that iPhone 16. Like, what are you talking about? It reduces the fucking quality. So there's probably some funny business going on that they don't want screenshots because they don't want people swapping tickets. So you've got to actually log into your email address. What a load of old shit, man. Fuck you now. But there you go. Now, moving on to this from millfc.co.uk. No surprise, really. Duncan Watmore nominated for August 2024 EFL Sky Bet Championship Player of the Month award. Again, we are now, 12 days into September and they're only just doing this? Wouldn't this been a good thing to do over the international break when everyone's bored out of their mind? But here we go, that's the EFL for you, isn't it? So Duncan Watmore has been nominated for the EFL's August 2024 Sky Bet Championship Player of the Month award. The attacker's work rate and team play has never been in question, but he's begun this season by adding goals 4 in 4 games, plus an assist with a standout, a superbly controlled volley at Bristol City, a strike which won the Lions' August Goal of the Month competition. Watmore is up against 3 other second-tier stars, with the winner to be announced on Friday the 13th of September. Ooh, Friday the 13th. The Sky Bet Player of the Month judging panel consists of Sky Sports' Don Goodman. He seems alright. Whenever I hear him, he seems to have a good... When he's done Millwall games, he seems to be quite fair towards Millwall. Sky Bet EFL trader Ivor Davies. Who? And EFL Chief Executive Trevor Birch. So he's up against Mark Harris of Oxford United, Josh Madger of West Bromwich Albion, and Luke O'Neill of Sunderland. It's going to be tough, isn't it? It's going to be tough. Would they give it to Mark Harris or Josh Madger? Probably, maybe. Or maybe Watmore might get it. You don't know. But there you go. Fully deserved. I think it's a new Barnett that's done it for him, you know. It's when you've like... You talk to, there's a reason why a lot of bald people, they go out of their way to get wigs and injections and all kinds of things. A good head of hair on your head gives you a whole lot of confidence in life, and I think that's what's done it for Duncan Watmore. So there you go. Whoever his new barber is, we need to thank him very much for that. Now, moving on to this. From the londonnewsonline.co.uk, which is the South London Press. 2 Millwall key performers in final year of Den deals as head coach talks about conversations naturally taking place. Millwall head coach Neil Harris has talked about the natural cycle of play contract talks to commence, with Duncan Watmore and George Honeyman both inside the final 12 months of their Den deals. The pair have been leading performers for the Lions in the opening weeks of the 24-25 campaign. Watmore scored 4 goals and was nominated for the Championship Player of the Month award for August. Yeah, we know, I just told you that. Midfielder Honeyman has been another fixture of the side and put in a succession of all-action displays. What I can say is that the football club are very aware that there is a core group of senior players who are going to be out of contract at the end of the season, said Harris when asked by the South London Press about the duo. You can go through transfer windows and then you have settling period, and then discussions start with the players who are fit and in form. It just becomes about timing and about when those discussions take place. I don't think any player will be thinking about having those discussions at that moment. I don't think the football club will be discussing with players at the moment. As the months evolve, naturally those conversations take place. You mentioned about Duncan and George, arguably 2 of the best performers in our team and 2 of the best performers in the league, probably in the opening 4 games. Duncan has had his reward with goals. George hasn't had his reward with goals, but his performance has been phenomenal, with and without the ball, and they've been a key part to how I see the team creating. The important thing for us is to keeping them fit, and they both had recent injuries, so the importance of keeping fit, as it is for 2 or 3 other players in the starting 11 who have injury records, is going to be paramount for our season. Indeed, and we do already know that George Honeyman wants to say, because he did a number of interviews, I think just before the season started, about how much he loves living in Beckenham, of all places. He's not that far out. You imagine the players living further away than that, but he said him and his missus, they love it down there. So he does, he didn't say, he didn't exactly, you had to read between the lines, but he was saying, please, give me another contract. I want another contract, please. So I think he wants to say, Duncan Watmore, I don't know about him. Does he like it down here? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe he wants to go back up north. You never know. But, it's not doing himself any harm, is he, with his performances? So we'll see how that works out. But here's the thing. They can start talking to other clubs from January. So don't wait, because then you're in a competition. If you do want to keep them, and even if you don't, if you fair, like there are other players that I believe are out of contract, like Murray Wallace and Tom Bradshaw, and you should say, come January, you should have a conversation and say, look, we're not really sure if we're going to offer you a contract. It's probably about 20 to 80% that we're not going to offer you a new contract. So obviously, January transfer window, what do you want to do? Do you want to stay here to the end of the season? Do you want to go out on loan to a club that is interested in signing you as a trial? Do you just want to go out on loan? Do you want to leave in January? What do you want to do? You need to be fair to them. Don't string them along until the end of the season and go, oh yeah, maybe, we might offer you a contract. I'm not really sure, we're supposed to have a director of football who's doing all this stuff and managing it all. So get it done. Have a strategy, have a plan, and figure it out. And be honest with people, and don't be a snide. Don't be a snide. So there you go. Now moving on to this, also from the South London Press, londonnewsonline.co.uk. Championship leaders for big chances and second for XG. That's expected goals. Neil Harris on Mill's impressive statistics. Yes, all this all negative. Neil Harris's football is so negative. It's so negative that we are one of the most attacking teams in the Championship this season. It's literally night and day compared from the end of last season where we were fighting for our lives until this season. Like a switch has been flicked. It's like, oh, Harris Ball. Do you watch the games? Are you seeing what we're seeing? Mill head coach Neil Harris has talked about some of his side's impressive stats this season, which sees him right near the top of the championship charts for XG and shots. The Lions are second for XG in England's second tier and third for shots on goal. Mill have also created the most big chances, 4 more than second place, Leeds United. Mill also have the 5th best record for not conceding shots. So take that and stick it up your jumper. Asked about those strong performances, Harris told the South London press, I'm not stats driven. I use certain guidelines for us, and it's more based on final third entries and touches in the opponent's box, etc. We're big on that. All the stats do is when you look over your propaganda to use, and I will use that word propaganda, is that overall, when you put the 6 main stats into the melting pot, you should be top of the league. But it's only a 4-game window when we're not. The most important thing is, points as a football manager. When I'm standing in front of you guys after games and saying, I thought we was excellent, I thought we deserved to win the game, we deserve a point. And people can turn around and say, well, we lost 4-3 at Bristol City. I say, well, we were the better team and we deserved to win. The 2,000 people that clapped us off at the end of the night were delighted with the performance, and we just gave away poor goals. Indeed, that was before Tanganga came back. All it does is emphasise the point that I'm trying to make. We played very positively, and we've created a lot of chances. And we played a lot more attack-minded football. A lot of the goals we've conceded have been self-inflicted, but we've cut that out in the last 2 games. I wonder why, eh? We've also been a nice team to watch, and we took to a lot of plaudits. But for me, it's always finding the right balance between the stats and the balance between the results, and balance between a Millwall team that can go and create chance after chance, so long as it doesn't give away silly goals at the back. I've been really pleased with a lot of our play, the chances created and the attacking intent we've had, and I'm pleased with the creativity of the players. Last 2 games, we've shown that with 4 points, that has to be our blueprint moving forward. The question is whether Harris has been given enough credit for the way he has extracted impressive results and performances out of his Millwall players since succeeding Joe Edwards in the job in February. The Lions looked like they were nosediving towards relegation to League One, but their form under the club's all-time record goal scorer pulled them clear of the bottom 3 battle with matches to spare. Asked if he felt he got enough of the merited plaudits for his job today, Harris said, I'm the Millwall manager, you're never going to get praise for the things you exceed expectations, which is, to be honest, the club has done for the last 9 to 10 seasons, to get to the playoff final, to win promotion, and to have 8 seasons in the championship. We've exceeded expectations externally, and the club has received credit for that from managers. Myself and Gary, we've received credit for that in the past, and, when it comes to the style of play, there is a stigma attached to Millwall Football Club. I'm not worried. I've no personal ego on that, though. That perception on the outside of what we are still drives fear into our opponent, and we have to use that to our advantage. People, when they do come, actually really enjoy watching Millwall play, and that's why we have so many overseas visitors to the Den. Not only do they come because it's Millwall and they're excited to see Millwall play with the reputation of the club and the fans, but they enjoy coming to watch the team as well. And when you put that together, it's really powerful. Ultimately, that's what we put together in the last 6 months last season, and we want to put it together this season. And we did it again against Sheffield Wednesday, and in certain moments we did it against Watford as well. The only way the football club is going to gain credit, or a Millwall manager gains credit, is by overachieving. And overachieving for us is always going to be a team that gets into the top half of the division, and people do take note. So there you go. You get given your laurels at the end of the season. Like, it's a results business, and the result is what's the league table after 46 games of a season. And I tell you what, if you want to overachieve, how about you get us up? That'll be a massive overachievement, and you'll get plenty of personal accolades for that, I am sure. Now, moving on to this from the LondonNewsOnline.co.uk again. South London Press. Millwall boss gives verdict on summer transfer window and decision to allow Zion Fleming to join Burnley. Yeah, we got pre-match interview Neil Harris, he's just been talking and talking and talking and talking. I mean, he's got so much to discuss. Mill stuff. Actual Mill stuff. So Millwall head coach Neil Harris reckons that the summer transfer window should close before the domestic season starts. Amen to that, brother. I agree with that. The Lions did business. We did business on deadline day as they splashed a club record 3 million. What? It's gone up. It was 2.5 before. I think it was 3 million euros, my friend. Who did this? Richard Cooley. I don't know. Maybe he knows. On Serbian striker Milo Ivanovic and added Middlesbrough frontman Josh Coburn on loan. Interesting with all this money that we're spending. I imagine next season the season ticket's going to have to go up, no? Maybe by a little bit. But I mean, we're spending so much money. Well, James Belson is not my money. A little bit is my money, but not much. Mill also allowed Zion Fleming to join Burnley on loan with an obligation to buy. Asked for his assessment of the window, Harris told the South London Press, in many ways, I'm really pleased that the transfer window is shut because I like every manager in the Premier League and Football League doesn't understand, why the transfer window doesn't shut before the season starts. It's really interesting, to read someone like Sheffield United boss Chris Wilder's quotes during the week and him talking about the transfer window and the effect it has on the football club. Chris is one of the senior figures in the manager fold who I really like listening to, and I respect his comments, and he articulated really well. It's really difficult for football clubs to plan for the future, for players and also coaching staff, because why do you have the whole of May, June and July before the season starts and you can't close the window before? And that's something that needs to change in the game. I would like to see the football authorities do something about it and, make a strong decision to realise it's about football and not anything off the pitch. The window for us, the first 3 months walked into a 48-hour period where 1 minute there was a deal and then the next minute it was off, and then it culminates in the last 3 hours of Zion moving and Mihailo coming in. And that was a stressful period for everybody involved. I was certainly delighted that once we got to the Den last Saturday, against Sheffield Wednesday, there was clarity and everything in our changing room. Fleming was a £1.7 million signing from Fortuna Sittard in 2022. Burnley will pay in the region of £7 million if the deal becomes permanent. Mill did have an option to extend his terms by a further 12 months until June 2026, but that would have seen an increase in his salary. Much like the Tanganga thing then, eh? Asked if he understood the decision to allow the 26-year-old to leave, Harris said, I do, because Jimmy has been very clear with the thought process that as a business model, we need to progress as a football club. And if we want to progress and try and compete with the top 10 to 15 clubs in this division, they have to find a way of creating more revenue, and not relying on a sole investor just to put family money into a business. And, we have to look at a model where we can bring through our own players to represent the football club or for selling. And we also have to look to trade and to be brave with buying players to develop them and sell them as well at the right price. Zion falls into that category where he's coming from abroad and he wasn't very well known over here. He's had a very good season and a strong second season, and I really enjoyed working with him. Arguably he's one of our most talented players. So to lose him, it's disappointing from a manager's perspective, but also I understand from a business perspective that, it's modern day football. I fully support the club's decision that, the manner of losing him a few hours before the window shut was difficult for all of us. If we struggle with injuries during the next 4 months, that's something we'll have to get through and make sure we get good decisions regarding players at the top end of the pitch. Yes. Now, moving on to this from the Southwark News. It might be similar. I haven't checked it. They might just be covering the same stuff from the same press conference. The last few days are crazy. Millwall boss reflects on transfer window after losing key attacker. So it does sound like it's going to be quite similar. Millwall head coach Neil Harris is relieved the transfer window is closed as he criticised the current system, which he believes creates unnecessary disruption for clubs. Yeah, it's the same quote. Oh yeah, here we go. Now that the window is closed, Harris is happy to shift his focus back to football without the distraction and potential last-minute deals and changes to his squad. Oh, I'm delighted that the window's shut and we can get back to concentrating on football, Harris said. And delighted we got to Saturday morning, leading into Sheffield Wednesday with clarity in the building. Harris acknowledged that his squad has faced challenges in the opening weeks of the season, particularly with injuries and suspensions to key players, including Billy Mitchell and Defet Tanganga, and the departure of Fleming. For me, our squad has been slightly affected by injuries to certain personnel, and losing Zion on deadline day, sort of an hour before the window shuts, is something that's very difficult to replace, Harris said. You're always hopeful that you don't get injuries to players in the same positions, and then you find yourself a little bit short between windows. But that's my job, to adapt, if need be, to personnel and shape. Meanwhile, Ivanovic will see a specialist this week before it is determined when he is likely to be available to make his debut. Ivanovic, 19, joined up with the Serbian squad ahead of the National League games before he left the camp to return to London. Harris said after the win over Sheffield Wednesday, a metatarsal injury could keep the forward out for 8 weeks. And then we got more about the Serbian, it looks like. So it might have looked a little chaotic. Millwall boss gives update on Serbian striker. Millwall head coach Neil Harris has provided an update on new signing Mihailo Ivanovic, the Serbian, who arrived at the Den on deadline day as the club's new record signing was expected to miss around 8 weeks due to injury, but was still called up by the Serbian national team for the last set of international fixtures. Harris explained the situation, clarifying that while Ivanovic's injury ruled him out of playing for the Millwall in the short term, his call up to the Serbia squad was an important opportunity for the young forward. We're hopefully going to get a bit more clarity this week, Harris told Newsend. We were delighted that Mihailo went away with Serbia last week. It's really important. We knew he was going and we were delighted because what a privilege for him, a 19-year-old being called up by his national team head coach. The chance to go away, meet the coach and spend time in the setup was really important. Ivanovic left the Serbian camp before their first 2 games against Spain. The Serbian FA wanted to run their own checks and see the player, meet him and spend time with him. Harris said, we were cool with that, they wanted to see Mihailo on the pitch for a couple of days just to assess where he was at, and then they made the decision to support us in letting him come back. Ivanovic will now undergo further assessments at Millwall to determine the exact timeline for his recovery. We'll see a specialist this week, and then all of us will have clarity on where he is at and when he'll be available, whether in the short term or if it's going to be more mid-term, Once we get that information, I'll be able to update everybody. We work closely with the FAs and everyone is in agreement that we're looking at the bigger picture. Mihailo signed here on a long-term deal and the Serbian FA wanted to represent them for years to come. What might have looked a little bit chaotic from the outside was a lot calmer on the inside. Indeed. Now, moving on to this from the Southern News. All of you Neil Harris haters, you're gonna love this. I want to be coached by that guy. Millwall attacker gives insight into drawn out transfer. Millwall's summer signing Femi Azeez has revealed that the club was his top choice after learning of their interest. Azeez, 23, knew early in the summer that Lions wanted to sign him, but the £1 million deal wasn't officially completed until August 21. Azeez never had any doubt where he wanted to take the next step in his career. Our patience is definitely something you need to have, Azeez told Newsend, reflecting on the transfer process. With Reading it took me a while because of the ownership issues going on behind the scenes, so I just had to keep my head down, and keep on working. When I first got the call from my agent saying Mill were interested, it excited me straight away, after my first conversation with the manager and Steve Gallen, I got a really good feeling almost instantly. It was always my number one choice. Azeez was particularly impressed with Neil Harris, following a number of players who have cited conversations with the Lions head coach as being a key factor in their decisions to join the club. Football aside, Neil Harris is a great guy, and the first conversation I had with him highlighted that, as he said. Having such a good guy as a manager made me think, I want to be coached by that guy, I like to learn and grow under him. Nobody likes to suck up, Azeez. Nobody likes to suck up. Azeez played across the front line for the Royals, but he knows where he has the best chance to make an impact with Millwall. Out wide is my favourite position. I played pretty much every game on the right for Reading last season. I've grown into that position. I also grew up playing on the left. Playing out wide is where I feel most comfortable. So there you go. Femi Azeez is glazing up Neil Harris. He's trying to get in that team. Don't fall for it, Neil. Don't fall for it. Only pick him if he's worthy, if he's doing it in training. Don't fall for his tricks. Now, moving on to this. We're going to finish with this. What's going on here then? The other day, Southern News. Was it Southern News? Yeah. So, no. The guy from the BBC who said he said in July that deal was set to be done. And then he repeated it this week. And then the Southern News the day after came out and gave us a bit more detail saying, it was delayed because of a back injury and a deal has been agreed. Which, it didn't say a fee had been agreed, it said a deal had been agreed. A deal with who? Between Josh Stephenson and Brentford. What about Millwall? They don't get saying it. So apparently now we have this from the LondonNewsOnline.co. They get this out on the press. There ain't no deal. Millwall and Brentford ain't agreed a deal. He's agreed to sign for them, and Brentford agreed to sign him. And then if they don't agree the deal, it goes to tribunal. So what happens then? Can you? I don't understand how this works. Is it possible? Like, you can sign a player, right? And it's subject to a work permit. So they'll sign the player, but it will only become an official transfer if the geezer gets a work permit. If he don't, then it don't. Can they do the same thing with this? Or would that be a bit ropey with like a young under 18 player? Could they say, look, we're going to sign you. We agree to sign you, but if the tribunal fee is too high, then the deal's going to get cancelled? Or does it only go to a tribunal when the deal has been agreed? I don't know. But there you go. So let's find out what's going on. Millwall's under-18 centre-back Josh Stephenson set to sign a 5-year professional contract with Brentford. No deal has been agreed between the two clubs, meaning there is a chance that compensation could be decided by a tribunal. Haha. The Lions felt that they made a very good offer to Stephenson, who won their Academy Player of the Season award in May, and have shown with Romain Esse and Alfie Massey's involvement at first team level that they want to promote from within and build up their group of young players. Esse and Massey have both signed new contracts this season, with Millwall also bringing in 18-year-old midfielder Daniel Kelly from Celtic in the last transfer window. Stephenson's desire to play Premier League football means he snubbed terms with the South Londoners. Okay, but what does that mean? Like, Millwall haven't had players that have gone left and gone on to play in the Premier League. Like, what are you talking about, bro? You heard of Tim Cowell? You heard of Teddy Sheringham? Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? But yeah, so this is why it's taking so long. What the hell is going on? So now we have to wait. Is he going to go to a tribunal now? There is a massive thing about clubs not wanting it to go to a tribunal, because for some reason the tribunal's gone crazy. And was it Danny Ings? The Danny Ings deal, like, or was it Liverpool had to pay Southampton or something like that? I don't really care that much, to be honest. But it was something like 2 million, and they were, what? Everybody's jaws dropped in the football world, because, like, what the fuck is that? Everyone's going crazy. It's like, what? And that was insane. And now, so that's why you get players trying to, they leave from one country to the other, because I mentioned in the previous video, you only have to pay training compensation, which is a fixed fee. There's no tribunal. There's no, what's this panel going to say? Nah, we know how much you're going to have to pay. It's literally, it's on the spreadsheet at FIFA. It's international training compensation. And then going forward, a solidarity payment. That's it. So if you are in this day of FFP, can you imagine if the tribunal says they have to pay this much for Josh Stephenson to Millwall, and then Brentford break their FFP and get points deductions? That's going to be insane. Going to be absolutely insane. But damn, bro. So yeah, we wait and see. But there you go. And on that note, thank you for watching, and goodbye.